Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and the Pokemon TCG has a wide variety of different mechanics. Some of these are very complicated, some of them are pretty simple, and some are unique, some are not so unique, and in fact, some are kind of the same as others, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Because in the standard form, there's a lot of different mechanics, and in older eras of the Pokemon TCG, there are also a lot of different mechanics. So today I'm taking a look at three mechanics and that are in standard and their older counterparts. Also, I'm not going to go over everything about these mechanics in this video. Tell me down below in the comments if you want me to take a deeper dive into any one of these individual mechanics, which some of these I've taken deeper dive into in the past, but not necessarily all of them. And then also if you want me to make this video with other mechanics, because there are some other ones in standard that have older mechanics, also some from older eras that have even older mechanics. And so comment that down below. And also while you're down there, make sure you subscribe and like the video. But with that out of the way, let's hop into the first mechanic, which is actually not exactly a mechanic. It's kind of weird. It is the baby mechanic in this Pokemon TCG format in standard, where we see stuff like Badoo. Badoo's like definitely the best of them, and Limitless here, you can't actually search for babies. You can actually kind of search for the ones in standard because they all have the similar trait. They have a few similar traits. They all have 30 HP, they all have a free attack, and they all have free retreat, and they are also all basics, I will say. And these are actually Pokemon that are, I believe, only featured as baby Pokemon in the TCG, unless there are some that I'm forgetting. Baby Pokemon have made a lot of different appearances. I'm just going to be taking a look at two of them today, the ones in standard and then the older ones. There have been a wide variety of different ones, and they're kind of weird. But the one that was like truly a mechanic, because the ones in standard are just kind of like different basics, are the ones of, I believe, the Neo era. This card is of the Neo era, and this is Cleffa, which is baby Pokemon, and it actually says baby Pokemon here. It's a 30 HP Pokemon with free retreat. It also has no retreat or resistance. The standard baby Pokemon do have retreat and resistance. Wait, they have resistance, I assume, right? You got Mime Jr., which should have a resistance. That's not it, but yeah, it does. So you see that as a pretty big difference, or a moderate difference. It's not actually a big difference because they don't have that much HP, but it is notable here. And then they do have an attack cost as well. And then they have some other text as well, because if you're not familiar, and I imagine most people probably are, but baby Pokemon are babies to, another Pokemon, right? So they are a previous evolution to, in the video games, something like Clefairy's a previous evolution to Clefairy, which is actually a basic in the TCG. So then this has the baby rule that says if this, oh wait, no, it says here, where is it? Yeah, it evolves into Clefairy, so you can just evolve it, and you like evolve a basic into a basic. It's kind of weird. Then they have this baby rule, which says if it's in the active, and then your opponent tries to attack, they flip a coin, and then if tails, they don't attack. So it's interesting, very similar to the Confusion Special Edition. Cleffa, I know, was a card that was very impactful when it was in the standard format, and that's not really what I'm talking about today here. It is something that I had to mention, and I know the coin flip aspect of it was important for balancing out the game. That being said, I don't really like it. I'm not gonna lie. I think it doesn't necessarily. I mean, I don't love coin flips. I enjoy some coin flips, but I enjoy like sillier coin flips, not one where you have like a bunch of coin flips in high quantities, or with some fun result, not something that's stopping you from attacking. So I'm not a big fan of that. As I said, they were meaningful to the game and like fixing some issues with the game, but still not really in love with that aspect of the card. Then they had a variety of different attacks. I think they were a little more versatile in this era than in standard, but I'm not sure. In standard, they're also pretty weak outside of Badoo, which is very good, and then Cleffa in standard, which is also all right. The draw Cleffa, there's two, I believe. And then the older babies, which I said they were in the Neo era. I'm not sure if they were just in the Neo era. I didn't play back then. But anyways, Cleffa and the other ones, which again, there were some other good ones, which had I think one had like an ability lock style effect, something pretty similar to that. There were some that did damage in different ways as well. I do, I like the diversity of the older ones, and I really do like the fact that you're able to evolve them. That being said, I do like the design of the newer ones, and also in Pokemon TCG Pocket. I don't really play Pocket much, or slash at all, but it's pretty interesting to see the babies there as well, and I think they actually fit very well into Pocket, and I really like their design there. I think they're actually, I don't know if they're more interesting than in Standard, but they are pretty interesting there, and add more depth to the game. But overall, I think the baby mechanic is fun. And as I said, tell me down below if you want me to talk about the other babies, because they vary wildly. It's like really weird. Some are very wildly, some don't. Some are pretty similar. But anyways, I think the fact that they can evolve is pretty important. to their theming, but also in terms of actual gameplay, it's not super important here. Then we have the next era cards. These are the EX cards. EX card. Oh no, my voice. EX cards are weird. They're very, very complicated. I'm not going to dive into all the stuff here. So we have the current standard EXs. These are kind of the same as the older EXs, like very old EXs, which I'm not talking about today because it's like the same mechanic, and also it's kind of different and it's kind of weird. But anyways, the current EXs are two prizers, and the old EXs are also two prizers. There are also Mega EXs. Not going to be talking about those just yet. We'll get to those later. But the current EXs are the same stage as the regular Pokemon. Like Blaziken normally is stage 2, Blaziken EX is stage 2, and so on. Unlike let's see, Houndoom would normally be a stage 1, but this Houndoom EX is a basic here. So these are all basics. And I'm just gonna get out of the way. The main thing, them being evolutions, is really, really good. Evolutions are a fun part of the Pokemon TCG, and in standard we see a lot of EXs being good, but we see EXs of all three stages, basically stage 1 and stage 2, be good, which I think is very important for the health of the game. It's not like you can't have a fun game if all the top decks are basics, but it's harder, right? And I mean it works for some people, but it doesn't work for everyone. So a wider variety of decks is nice here. Also, I think the newer EXs have generally had more interesting design. There's a wide variety of different effects you find on them. It's not crazy. It's not a huge difference, but the original era of EXs, they had some like pretty unpleasant cards, I guess. There were some cards that were just very strong and much better than the others, like Darkrai EX, or notably, where is it? Mewtwo EX, not that one. I can't find it. I'm sure I skipped past it. It's got to have some weird art that I'm not used to. But anyways, Mewtwo EX is the most. Oh, well, yeah, it was reprinted Celebrations. That makes sense. Yeah, very strong card here. But anyways, I think the EXs, the newer ones, are more interesting. They aren't anything crazy. I'm not going to spend too long on them because they aren't anything crazy here, but they are still pretty fun. A meaningful mechanic that is the main mechanic in the game. There are also variations of both these mechanics. Um, in terms of variations of the modern EXs, the lowercase modern EXs, I'm not a huge fan. I'm not going to lie. Most of them have some kind of they're kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. Like the Terras are okay, but it's not super. The fact that the Terras isn't very meaningful. The fact that the Stellars are Stellars isn't very meaningful most of the time. And then there's like the type changing Terras, which again isn't super meaningful, but kind of interesting. I said they're bad, but it's the cards themselves aren't bad, but the mechanic isn't really adding value to them. Like you look at Ogerpon, and like there is some synergy here. Like you could be playing Area Zero Underdepths, and that's about it. So it's not anything super crazy there, but overall do like the new EXs compared to the old ones, and compared to the very old ones, it's kind of the same thing as the new ones. But then we move to the last set of cards, which are the Mega cards. These are the new Megas, which are just three prizers. They're like the old, or no, the old slash new, but not middle EXs, the lowercase EXs, where it's the same stage as the normal Pokemon. It's kind of weird because thematically it would make more sense if they evolve from the Pokemon, like Venusaur, Mega Venusaur should evolve from Venusaur, but it doesn't really matter. The old ones work like that though, and they're both EXs, though different capitalization there. But the capital EXs here are cards that evolve from the capital, with the capital Megas evolve from the capital EXs, and so they're all, well, they're the stage is Mega, but they're functionally stage 1s. However, they did end your turn when you play them. That being said, most of the good ones, I believe, correct me down below in the comment section if I'm wrong, but I believe all of the good Megas had Spirit Links. Like all the ones that saw competitive play had Spirit Links, because that's like super important. Ending your turn is really bad. And then you're just a turn behind. That's like really, really terrible. So you play them with the Spirit Links there, and then they're just tools, and they like let you evolve and essentially work. The new Megas don't really have that. We haven't I mean, they're not out internationally at all. They're not all out in Japan. A few of them are out. I think we're guaranteed getting at least 3 sets. I could be wrong on that, but I believe so. Anyways, the Megas being 3 prizes though with the new ones, I think is okay. I think 3 prizes can add dynamic elements to the game. I haven't talked about I talked about Pocket at the beginning, but I think them in the Megas in Pocket is not as good of an idea here, but I'm not sure. We'll need to kind of wait to see how that plays out. And as I said, I'm not really a Pocket channel at all. I do some occasional Pocket content. Did do it more, but did want to mention it here. But ultimately, in the regular TCG, it does help add diversity to the way that the games are played, because you have different prize maps, which can be fun. It can be annoying as well. It can make the Megas very strong. That being said, I think the modern Megas, the new ones that are kind of out, are decently balanced. I think the older ones were also decently balanced, but also I don't know if decently balanced or not strong enough, somewhere in that range. And I've heard other people say kind of similar things. Obviously, with the new megas, people are kind of hyping them up because they're new. But honestly, I think people think they're just okay. The old megas, as far as I'm aware, weren't super good. Mega Rayquaza EX was good. There were some that were pretty good in expanded, and I mean they were okay in standard. They weren't horrendous or anything. They also weren't super unique though in terms of like abilities and stuff. Wait, they didn't have any abilities. Yeah, they were terrible in terms of abilities then. Um, they had ancient traits, which are kind of like it though. But the new megas do have some abilities and some synergies. I guess the old ones did as well. You got like a Mega Turbo and stuff. But ultimately, I think the megas are fine. I'm really excited to see more from them, though I am nervous that they're not going to be interesting enough. So, based on what we've seen so far, a lot of them have been kind of generic, not terrible, but just okay. But I am interested in hearing your thoughts down below in the comments as well. If you think the megas and the other new era mechanics are cool, or if you like the old ones better. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all that good stuff. I have a bit of a shorter video today, so tell me what you think of that as well. But I hope you enjoyed it. And as Osmond said, see you in the next video.